At my son's wedding, his fiancé smashed my face into the cake and sneered, "Try some dessert, beggar." For a heartbeat, I stood frozen, then wiped the frosting, lifted my chin, and faced her under every camera's light. That was the night dignity became evidence. The story had only just begun. Charleston was warm enough that evening to make the air hum. The scent of jasmine crept up from the garden and wrapped around me like memory. I sat on my porch swing, the same one my husband Ambrose had built with his own hands before he passed. The sun was melting behind the steeples, the cicadas tuning up their nightly song. When the mail truck rolled away, I noticed a heavy ivory envelope resting on the railing, a wax seal glinting in the light. My name was printed wrong, D. Marsh. I rubbed the smudge on the corner and whispered, "Baby, they know how to spell when they want to." The wax stuck to my thumb as if it meant to stay. I slid it open with a paring knife, careful not to tear the edges. The invitation felt expensive, but cold, like something made to impress, not to include. Mr. and Mrs. Declan Sloan requests the honor. It began, formal, distant, almost corporate. Inside, the RSVP portal demanded I choose a gift tier. My name was shortened again, as if trimming it down made me easier to ignore. Black tie optional, the note read in a voice that didn't sound like my son. I murmured, "Bless your heart," which in Charleston means everything but kind. Near the bottom, a line caught me. Family photo lineup will be coordinated by the bridal party. I circled it with my pen, writing a note beside it. Who decided that? My phone rang. Corbin's name flashed across the screen. "Hey, Wad Mom," he said, clipped and polite, like he was calling a coworker. "You got the invite? Hope you've got something fancy enough. You know how Varela is about optics." His words felt practiced, rehearsed to keep peace somewhere else. "Son," I said evenly, "I've dressed for tougher rooms than a ballroom." He chuckled, uncomfortable. I heard laughter in the background, her laugh, sharp as glass through the speaker. "Love you, Mom. Gotta hop on a call." The line died before I could answer. I wrote down the time and underlined the word optics. A text from Varela followed before I could set the phone down. She sent a link labeled Guest Guidance. Inside was a PDF suggesting muted neutrals for senior guests. No attention-grabbing fabrics. Another bubble appeared. "If budget's tight, I can connect you with discounted rentals. Wouldn't want you to stress." I typed slowly. "Honey, my stress doesn't wear fabric." She liked the message and replied with a photo of a silver-gray wrap dress tagged Age Appropriate. I saved the screenshot into a new folder. Wedding, Tone and Logistics. On a sticky note, I wrote, "Age Appropriate Invisible." Standing before my closet, I looked over my church suits and the pearls Ambrose gave me on our 20th. Every piece told a story of someone who earned her place, not someone who asked for it. I ran my fingers over his old cufflinks tied together with a ribbon. "Respect," I said softly, "isn't a coupon you hand out. It's a line you don't cross." I placed his monogrammed handkerchief, in my purse like a promise. Before bed, I opened a binder and slid the invitation inside. I added tabs, communication, receipts, contacts. I scheduled a rideshare, charged my phone, and wrapped the modest gift, a leather-bound prayer book with my handwriting on the first page. For Corbin, "May love keep you honest." I called my church friend and asked for a prayer. She said, "Lord, give her quiet lips and a strong spine." I smiled, repeating it like armor. When I finally opened the RSVP portal, a drop-down list asked for placement preference. Mother of groom was missing. Only extended family, row C. My finger hovered, steady. I took a screenshot. The page blinked and reloaded. "Seating will be finalized by the bride." I exhaled once and whispered, "All right then?" Ray called early, her voice crisp like the morning light through my blinds. "D, I ran the filings," she said. Not a hello, not a breath wasted. "Your future daughter-in-law is running an event consultancy shell through Declan's firm. Same mailing address as the planner." I sat straighter at my kitchen table, coffee untouched. "And Corbin's name?" I asked. "Listed on the vendor insurance," she replied. "Emergency contact. That word landed hard. Emergency. Ray emailed the files. Each page proof of something dressed up as business. I printed them, hole-punched, and filed them in my binder. Where I come from, I muttered. Paper don't lie, people do. By mid-morning, another ping. Seating update, My stomach tightened. The RSVP link had turned my placement from family to extended row C. A small subnote read, Row C sits behind column. Sightlines limited. I laughed once, dry as chalk. I called the venue contact listed in the email. A young woman whispered, I'm sorry, ma'am, that's the bride's directive. Noted, I said. Could you print me a copy of this for my records? The line went quiet. Just a faint, yes, ma'am. I logged her name, the time, the exact words. I wasn't going to beg for a chair that carried my name. I'd simply remember who took it away. That afternoon, Ray forwarded another gem, screenshots from a vendor group chat. The florist had written, Mother of groom is economical. Steer her toward muted tones. Another message. No speeches unless cleared. Optics must stay sleek. No churchy moments. The ADA ramp was mentioned too. Just for photos, real load-in elsewhere. I highlighted optics, muted, and no speeches. Same words Varela had used in her texts. Patterns have a way of proving themselves. I printed each message, filed them neatly, and underlined. ADA =, prop. Then I closed my binder and breathed slow. Ambrose used to say, Baby, separate the rage from the action. The action's what fixes it. I picked up the phone and dialed one of the vendors, a woman named Marietta Cole. My voice softened into that professional calm I'd used for years running hospital operations. This is Drusilla Marchand, I said. I'm confirming accessibility and the family photo queue for tomorrow. There was hesitation before she answered. Bride's family first. She confessed. Groom's side if there's time. I asked for the ADA route map and an emergency plan emailed over. Of course, ma'am, she said. The ramp's stable enough for photos. Her own words caught in the air between us. I thanked her, wrote down the time, and circled one word. Photos. Later. I checked the registry again, this time. Something new blinked at the top. Gift tiers unlock premium seating. A banner followed. Diamond patrons enjoy family photo access, I whispered to myself. So love's a subscription now. Testing it, I typed in $1. The site rejected it. The lowest tier was $5,000. I screenshotted the page, saved it as seating for sale. I smiled, not from joy, but clarity. I wasn't buying my place at my son's side. I'd protect my place in truth. Corbin called just before lunch. Mom, could you just go with the plan? It's smoother this way. His voice trembled, torn between wife and mother. Whose plan? Baby? And smoother for who? I asked. Silence. Varela's family keeps score, he murmured. Then let them keep it, I said. I count people, not points. Don't make this a thing, he pleaded. The thing already made itself, I replied. He sighed. Love you. Mom, It sounded like goodbye. By late afternoon, I drove to the venue under the excuse of dropping off a note. I saw staff setting up a shallow ramp, plywood thin, unbolted at the edges. Hey, is that safe? I asked one of them. It's for pictures, he said. I snapped a photo of the sticker, no weight rating, and emailed the site manager with a short line. This is a hazard. He replied quietly. Bride insisted. My reply was calmer. Understood. For my records. At the boutique that evening, the clerk chirped. We love toning down mothers. So classy. I smiled. Darlin', I'm toned just fine. I'm here to be seen, not staged. Another customer whispered. You remind me of my mama. I paid cash and insisted on a paper receipt. No trace left to twist my narrative. When I returned home, a new message waited. Rehearsal moved. Bride's family only. The thread vanished seconds later, but not before my screenshot captured it. I set my binder down, placed Ambrose's handkerchief on top, and whispered, Tomorrow. I stand tall. The doorbell rang, a delivery box with my name misspelled again. Inside was a pew card for row C and a penciled note. If you want closer, speak to V. I arrived 5 minutes early, binder in hand, shoes quiet against the brick courtyard. The golden hour light stretched long shadows over rows of chairs, each tagged with gold or silver badges. The staff handed out glossy VIP lanyards. Bride's family only. My place card read Row C extended. An usher, polite but firm, gestured toward a shaded bench. "Ma'am, you'll be more comfortable there." I smiled. "Sweetheart, comfort's a choice, not a place." I asked about the ADA path map I'd requested. The young woman whispered, "The ramp's mostly decorative." I noted her name, badge color, and the handheld scanner she used to open the velvet rope marked VIP aisle. My phone camera caught the signage, time-stamped to the minute. Presence wasn't permission, presence was proof. Corbin stood on the stage rehearsing with a clipboard and a stage manager. I watched from the side as he read from a printed script. The words weren't his. "We're so grateful to the Sloanes," he said, voice stiff. Varela hovered behind him, red pen moving like a conductor's baton. I caught sight of the cue sheet. No maternal acknowledgments, just parents of the bride. Corbin looked up once, almost meeting my eyes, then looked away. The sound technician slid a switch labeled MOG, mute. I snapped a discreet photo from my lap. The fader dropped just as Corbin said his closing line. I whispered, "You can't mute what keeps its own record." When the rehearsal paused, I found him in the side corridor. The air smelled of eucalyptus candles and new paint. "Is this your choice or your compromise?" I asked softly. He rubbed the back of his neck. "Mom, they have a system. Please don't make waves." I smiled faintly. "I don't make waves." "Baby, I mark tides." He reached into his pocket, pulled out a lanyard with a gold tag, and hesitated before slipping it away. "These badges are tied to sponsor levels," he murmured. I logged that word. Sponsor. "I raised you to stand tall in a crowded room," I said. "Just tonight, Mug," he whispered. "Tomorrow we fix it." "Pattern of delay," I muttered, already writing it down. Behind us, laughter rippled. 2 bridesmaids watched me, whispering like schoolgirls. "Make sure her hem hides those church shoes, so age-appropriate," one said. The other replied, "If she wants a better seat, she can tithe." Their laughter stung sharp as salt. I walked closer, 2 paces only, and said, calm but clear, "Child, the hem is for walking past foolishness." The courtyard fell quiet. Corbin froze, caught between shame and loyalty. Varela's smile never reached her eyes. Her fingers flew over her phone, likely messaging someone about optics. I took a breath, recorded the time, and wrote 1 line. Humiliation logged, dignity intact. They re-blocked the aisle next. Only those with gold lanyards could cross the rope for the family photo lineup during Corbin's next reading. The sound engineer dipped the volume right as his glance brushed my direction. I photographed the console screen and texted Ray. McDip matched glance. Pattern confirmed. Marietta, the coordinator, mouthed sorry from the sidelines. I lifted my chin in acknowledgement. Some women fight loud. I file quietly. At the rehearsal dinner, place cards glittered under string lights. Gem icons matched registry tiers. Diamond, sapphire, pearl. My name sat closest to the service doors. I didn't move it. Corbin passed behind my chair, squeezed my shoulder, and whispered, "Tomorrow's the real thing." I smiled. So was today. I ate my meal and let my eyes do the accounting. Who smiled too long? Who whispered too fast? As we were leaving, a waiter's cart caught the flimsy ramp, jolting it sideways. A bottle crashed. Someone cursed. "Move that eyesore before tomorrow," Varela snapped. The staff scrambled. I stood still, phone raised, recording the sway of the unbolted plank. My heart didn't race. I just closed the binder and whispered to myself, "Tomorrow. My voice won't ask permission. It'll keep the record straight." I woke before the alarm. The Charleston dawn still soft and gray. The house smelled of brewed coffee and lemon polish. I poured a cup, filled my thermos, and slipped 3 sealed envelopes into my leather folder. 1 for the venue, 1 for the planner, 1 for the fire marshal. My flats were ready by the door. Before stepping out, I reviewed my photo log from last night. The wobbling ramp, The fader labeled EMOG, mute, the gold VIP ropes. I highlighted every missing ADA reference in the schedule, cross-checked it twice. Quiet is not weakness, I told my reflection. Quiet is strategy. I left Corbin a voicemail before sunrise. We're still family, son. Don't let optics replace love. By 7, I met Ray at the service gate. A crew member was pushing a cart past the ADA ramp, a bright orange tag fluttering from the handrail. Remove? I took a photo before it hit the trash bin. The venue coordinator appeared, clipboard trembling. The bride requested a clean sightline, she explained. Clean sightline, I repeated. Sightlines don't outrank safety. I handed her the first envelope. My letter with photos, timestamps, and ADA code excerpts attached. She muttered about client preferences. I said evenly. Code doesn't take requests. Ray filmed the ramp shaking as we spoke. If that ramp leaves, I said, I email this to the fire marshal. If it stays, we have a wedding. The coordinator nodded, pale as lace, and called maintenance to resecure the bolts. By 8, I found Marietta near the vendor dock, clipboard in hand, nerves written all over her face. I showed her the invoices, line by line, tent rentals, audio labor, ramp installation, each item billed to an escrow I had quietly funded months ago. That means you're my underwriter, she said, surprised. It means I have standing. I corrected her. And you have liability. She leaned closer. Varela doesn't want you near the aisle or the microphone. I underlined AV access and ADA compliance in red ink. Take a picture of your own copy, I suggested. She did, fingers shaking. This is for both our records, I added. Within minutes, an email hit her supervisor's inbox with her time-stamped confirmation. I smiled. Independent corroboration. My favorite sound. Ray waved from the AV bay, holding a printed map. Got the camera feed, she whispered. The chart showed every shot angle for the ceremony. One camera pointed directly at my assigned row. They wanted to monitor you, Ray said. Now we monitor them. Next to it, the audio patch map still carried yesterday's label, EMOG, mute. I asked the A2 tech, house policy or client note? He looked embarrassed. Client note, ma'am. I photographed both documents, emailed copies to Ray's cloud, and placed the planner envelope on the table. Request to remove discriminatory labeling, I said, and restore equal routing. He nodded. I smiled faintly. You can't argue with a map others printed. Heading toward the bridal corridor, I caught Varela waiting by the doorway, her smile like sugar on glass. Mrs. Marchand, she purred, we're keeping things elegant, minimal distractions. Elegance starts with access, I answered. Order begins with obedience, she countered. We've set up a lounge, somewhere quieter for you. I'll stay where the map says family sits. Corbin appeared behind her. Ty half nodded, eyes conflicted. Mom, please, he said softly. I squeezed his hand once, sparing him. Ray's camera blinked red as Varela turned away. Texting someone. On her screen. We caught the preview. Mute her, move her. I walked straight to the front office. The venue manager looked startled when I placed the last envelope on his desk. It's already addressed to the fire marshal, I told him. You just need to scan and CC the city. Inside were photos, the removal tag, the MOG mute label, and a formal request. Reinstall ramp, remove audio bias, ensure safety compliance before guests arrive. I'm not here to embarrass anyone, I said calmly. I'm here to keep the vows, legal, and the elders safe. Ray captured the timestamp as he sent the email. A low hum rolled across the courtyard minutes later. A city SUV pulled up by the gate. The coordinator's face drained of color. Crew members scrambled, re-bolting the ramp, peeling the MOG mute sticker off the console. My phone buzzed. Compliance verified. The strings began tuning inside the hall. I closed my folder and breathed deep. They fixed the stage. They forgot the players, because I still held the script they wrote. I arrived just before lineup, sun flashing off the white tent like polished glass. Ray walked beside me, her phone ready, her expression unreadable. At the usher table, my name gleamed in a fresh card. Family lounge, overflow, my pulse stayed even. On the wall chart. Ray spotted it first, my name dragged by a tiny arrow from row B to a shaded alcove. She photographed both versions, timestamp and all. I asked the usher softly. Who authorized that? He bit his lip. Bride's final pass, ma'am. Around 1-8, huh? I smiled. Midnight edits are rarely kind. I texted Corbin a screenshot. Son, optics or choices? The typing dots appeared, then disappeared. I slipped my original card back into my clutch. That small rectangle wasn't paper anymore. It was my promise to remain visible. Inside the green room, a planner assistant greeted guests with zip pouches for phones and neatly stacked NDAs. For privacy, she chirped. The contract banned unauthorized financial disclosures. I handed it back, unsigned. I don't sign homework during weddings, I said, tone light but steady. Ray declined her pouch, citing her medical alert app. The assistant faltered, then relented. Who drafted this policy? I asked. She blinked. Corporate legal. I wrote her name in my notebook anyway. Paper always outlives memory. As we left, I overheard, VIP media arriving. The phrase sounded like honey poured over barbed wire. Control the cameras. Control the story. Marietta met me near the aisle with a revised program. They trimmed runtime, she whispered. The mother-son acknowledgement was gone. I traced the empty space where my name had been and folded the program in half. Who'll greet the elders now? I asked. Pastor will weave it into prayer, she said, apologetic. Prayer's fine, I murmured. God doesn't need a microphone. Ray photographed the change beside yesterday's draft. I texted Corbin. We'll be fine. I'll smile for you. A notification slid across my screen. City Compliance verified ADA corrections. It sounded like a gavel inside my chest. The ceremony shimmered under late light. The ramp was secure. Freshly wiped, the rope barriers had vanished. Ray distracted the cameraman with small talk so his lens stayed wide, catching everyone equally. The A2 leaned over. Moji, mute tag's gone, he said quietly. Thank you, I replied. I sat in row B without argument. The coordinator hovered, then repositioned a stanchion to make it look intentional. The pastor's gaze brushed mine during the invocation. Brief, dignified. I didn't need applause. Recognition was oxygen enough. Golden hour bled into reception, on the patio. Varela whispered to the MC. Skip the parent remarks. Her tone was silk-wrapped steel. I stepped closer. We're not skipping, we're honoring. I said, The MC looked confused, caught between paycheck and principle. Corbin appeared, shoulders tight. Mom, please, he murmured. I smiled. Go be a groom, baby. I've got my own name. Across the room, a planner whispered that the city liaison was still present. I saw Varela's smile flicker, brittle at the edges. Moments later, a ripple of murmurs passed through staff. Ray nudged me. Something's off. My phone buzzed. A bank authentication alert for the event escrow card. Attempted profile edit. I didn't authorize it. I crossed the floor to Marietta. Your system just tried to change client of record, I said softly. She checked her screen. Paling. Bride's family wanted a consolidation swipe. Undo it, I said, or the escrow freezes for everyone. Her fingers flew. The transaction reversed. Varela watched from the cake table, whispering to Declan. Her lips formed the same phrase I'd read before. If you can't mute her, move her. The MC tapped the mic. Cake reveal. 20 minutes early. Guests clapped, oblivious. Staff guided me toward the table. For a sweet family photo, I felt the setup hum beneath the laughter. Varela turned, frosting knife in hand, her voice sweet as poison. Try some dessert. Beggar. Her palm lifted toward the cake, and I realized this was the moment they'd rehearsed without me. The moment her palm hit my face, the room gasped. Frosting smeared across my cheek, thick and cold. I didn't stumble. I didn't shout. I reached for a linen napkin, wiped the sugar from my skin, and said evenly, That's wasteful, dear. The band froze mid-chord. Someone dropped a fork. Ray stood instinctively between me and the cameras, but I gestured her aside. Let them see. Let them hear. The DJ's console glowed green. One mic still live. The silence was so sharp it hummed. Somewhere in that stillness, the shape of my comeback formed. slow and deliberate. Then it happened. A groomsman, voice slurred with champagne, blurted, "She's a billionaire." The word cracked through the room like a match to dry paper. Guests whispered, incredulous, "What? Is that true? Then why would she call her a beggar?" Varela went rigid. Declan cursed softly, glancing toward the AV rack. Corbin's face drained, shame written across it like ink on linen. I lifted my chin, keeping my tone calm. "Labels are lazy," I said. "I prefer the term prepared." The word landed. Phones began to rise. The whispers melted into static silence. I turned toward the DJ. "Channel 3 Live?" He nodded. "Then let the record reflect." My voice steadied. "I came here as a mother, not a spectacle. I signed no NDA. I owe no silence." The words carried across the speakers, clean and crisp. "5 minutes ago," I continued, "someone attempted a merchant profile edit on the event escrow account." Marietta's clipboard shook. Varela laughed thinly. "Don't be dramatic. It's a wedding," I answered. "Drama is chaos. This is documentation." Ray held up her phone. Screenshots glimmered like receipts of truth. I asked Marietta for the contract folder. Her hands trembled as she passed it to the city liaison still on site. I read aloud. "Clear enough for the back row. Client of record, Drusilla Marchand. Payment source, escrow ending 7,421. The liaison nodded. "Confirmed. Venue compliance closure was triggered by this guest's report." Murmurs rippled. A few guests clapped nervously. Declan stepped forward, hand outstretched. The liaison blocked him. "This is a compliance file, sir." I looked at Varela. Power isn't who holds the microphone. It's whose name sits on the line. Her jaw locked, but her eyes gave her away. My phone buzzed again. "Bank security. Speaker on. We detected an attempted reassignment on your escrow profile," the agent announced. "Proceed with account holder only?" "Proceed," I said. The agent continued. "The attempt originated from a handset registered to V. Sloan Events." Heads turned like a wave. "Thank you," I said. "Please document that no third-party consolidations are authorized." "Logged," the agent replied. "Monitoring continues. Congratulations." "Ma'am?" Laughter, uncertain but real, broke the tension. Even the DJ exhaled. I straightened, brushing stray frosting from my sleeve. "MC," I called. "Restore the mother-son acknowledgement. It was meant to be said." He nodded instantly. I turned to staff. "No one touches that cake. Photograph it for records." Then to Varela, calm but cutting. "You will apologize to me and to your guests." Her voice wavered. "You can't make me." I raised a hand. I document COGNTE." Corbin stepped forward, voice low but firm. "Varela, apologize." The crowd hushed. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I said, louder, "For the record." She leaned in, face softening as if to hug me. Her breath touched my ear. "You'll regret this," she hissed. The mic was still live. Every guest heard her venom bloom across the speakers. I stepped back, folded the napkin neatly, and said, "Security, please escort Miss Sloan to speak with the liaison." The room obeyed my tone. Corbin didn't move at first, then he did. Security led Varela toward the side family room as the ballroom murmured behind us. The noise was sharp and restless, like a hornet's nest disturbed. Corbin closed the door, his hands shaking. Frosting still marked my sleeve. He brushed it away as if that act alone could erase the scene. "Mama, I'm sorry," he whispered. "I didn't think—" "You didn't want to," I replied gently. Ray stood by the door, phone ready, her eyes tracking everyone's movements. Declan burst in next, already spinning. "This was a misunderstanding," he declared. "Let's not blow it up. We can manage optics if we all cooperate." I met Corbin's eyes. "Do you want to spend your life apologizing for someone else's choices?" He didn't answer right away, just stared at the floor, then nodded once. "We'll fix it," he said, voice cracking. In public, where everyone saw. Back in the ballroom, the crowd split like oil and water. The MC handed Corbin the mic, his face pale. My son took a deep breath. "No mother deserves that," he began, his voice steadying as he spoke. Not mine, not anyone's. Heads lifted, whispers died. When he handed me the mic, I said only what needed saying. Tonight, an assault occurred, a financial reroute was attempted, everything has been documented. I didn't name names. I didn't need to. Celebrate love, I added. By choosing it, especially when it's hard. The applause that followed wasn't loud, but it was clean. People clapping for truth, not showmanship. Varela tried to shout something from the aisle. Security lifted their hands, guiding her back. The liaison gestured toward the office for formal statements. In the venue office, the air was cooler, heavier with disinfectant intention. My phone buzzed. Bank security again. Case number issued, the agent said. Fraud flagged, reroute blocked. I ask that all vendor payments remain under account holder authority only. Marietta, pale, admitted Declan had texted her to update payee profile. She forwarded the message to the bank. Declan blustered. That's privileged correspondence. The liaison, calm as marble, said, then we'll collect devices voluntarily. Chain of custody envelopes appeared. I told them, all staff get paid on time. Anyone pressured tonight should contact this number. Corbin watched, awe flickering in his expression. You're building lanes, he murmured. No lanes, I said. Boundaries. Ray quietly emailed the evidence to my attorney in city compliance. Each file time-stamped to the second. Near the loading dock, the night smelled of diesel and sugar. Declan cornered me, his tie askew. We can issue a joint statement, he offered. You retract the billionaire bit, release footage rights, and we close this clean. I met his eyes. I don't negotiate after an assault or a theft attempt. I tilted my chin toward the security camera blinking above us. He muttered, You're ruining the internet night. I said evenly, I'd rather ruin a narrative than a life. Marietta appeared, shaking but resolute, holding the signed incident report. Witness confirmed, she said. Varela's voice rose from the hallway. This is my day, I answered. It was... Now it's a record. Corbin stepped between us. No more contact tonight. Declan, email counsel. That single sentence ended his control. Minutes later, the internet began to hum. Clips of Varela's whisper, you'll regret this, spread fast. Hashtags bloomed. Hash mothers deserve respect. Hash Charleston wedding fallout. Retired teachers, church ushers, and old family friends filled my inbox. We stand with mothers. A cousin texted, Get her to apologize on camera. The idea spread like wildfire. The MC asked, trembling, Do we continue? Corbin shook his head. No staged joy after real harm. Security brought Varela back. She read a pre-written apology, hollow as her perfume. I stayed silent. The liaison announced the assault report was filed, medical checks available. 2 older guests escorted her outside, the night swallowing her defiance. Later, in a dim hallway, I sat with an ice pack pressed to my cheek. Ray adjusted the linen wrap. The ache was deep, but so was the calm. My late husband's voice came to me. Win the paper, not the moment. Corbin knelt beside me, guilt shadowing his face. Mama, I'll fix this. Start with yourself, I told him softly. We agreed, no press statements, no feeding the fire, just documentation, payroll, and truth. From the ballroom, the band began a Sam Cooke tune. The elders hummed along. It felt like grace, quiet and earned. Corbin later stood before the guests once more. My mother paid for tonight, he said. Respect is the price of admission. I followed, voice firm but kind. Tonight isn't canceled, it's corrected. Eat, laugh, and treat people right. The applause that came this time was fuller, warmer. Varela appeared one last time, voice cracking. If you loved me, you'd stop this. Corbin answered. Love without consequence isn't love, it's enablement. Security stepped between them as the liaison recorded every word. A deputy entered carrying paperwork, voluntary statements, acknowledgement forms. Paper whispered louder than voices. Corbin took the mic. We'll pause this reception until we've done the right thing. He turned to me. Mama, walk with me. I stood, steady despite the ache. As we crossed the threshold, the deputy's radio crackled. Another report was coming in. and it carried Varella's name. The deputy's radio crackled as he entered, holding another folder. New report filed, attempted payment reroute and recorded post-assault threat, he said. Corbin straightened, the tremor in his hands replaced by a kind of hollow focus. I signed where he pointed, each pen stroke steady. Ray added her initials beside mine, her phone light reflecting off the paperwork. "What happens next?" Corbin asked quietly. The deputy replied, "Citation tonight. Hey, arraignment pending. Civil remedies available." I requested printed incident numbers for every vendor's packet, watching each page slide from the copier, evidence you could hold. Not rumor, Declan muttered about mutual walkbacks. The liaison shut that down with calm finality. Active investigation. Inside me, I heard my husband's old reminder. Win the paper, not the moment. I opened my trust binder, the one I'd updated after his funeral. A clause waited there for nights like this. No beneficiary or marital entrant retains access after documented assault or fraud against the settler. My hand didn't shake as I read it aloud. "This is not vengeance," I told them. "It's structure." The liaison took a copy, stamping the timestamp. Ray emailed the certified PDF to counsel. The trust portal flashed protected adverse event. Corbin swallowed hard. "So, the marriage license?" I met his eyes. "Still valid." "The money, however, isn't," Varela stammered. "You can't do that. That's theft," I replied evenly. "People who earn don't need to steal." Declan started to argue, but the silence around him made his voice sound small. Back in the ballroom, the chaos had softened into awkward civility. Guests whispered, clutching coffee cups instead of champagne. I took the mic one last time. "All vendors will be paid in full with a goodwill bonus," I said. "Guests, please take care of one another getting home," Corbin added. "Respect the staff. This evening ends with dignity." The elders clapped first, then others followed. The MC cued a soft hymn. Even the caterers hummed along. Varela reached for the mic, but security blocked her hand gently. I turned toward the exit. Not as retreat, just closure. Across the street, the hotel lobby glowed warm against the dark. Corbin sank into a chair, head bowed, the gold ring heavy between his fingers. "I can't keep pretending," he said quietly. He placed the ring on the table, its circle catching light and memory. "I'll file postponement paperwork in the morning." Varela refused it, her tone sharp as glass. "You'll regret humiliating me." "I'll torch you online." I met her gaze. "Court records outlast comments." Declan tried to intervene with PR spin. Corbin stood. "You're not family anymore." "Email counsel only." I booked Corbin his own suite under my name, but with no linked card. Protection isn't paranoia, it's parenting. Minutes later, Ray's phone chimed. "Counsel replied," she said. "Cease and desist drafted. Case flagged for fraud review. The venue issued an immediate suspension of Sloan events. Marietta signing as witness. Bank notifications stacked. 2 other vendor edits tied to Declan." The deputy returned briefly. "Serving papers." Varela rolled her eyes as she accepted them, still trying to appear unbothered. "I authorized charitable disbursements that night, bonuses for staff, and a donation to the hospital chaplaincy in my husband's name. Justice feels cleaner when paired with mercy." By dawn, Charleston Harbor shimmered pale blue. I stood along the battery, ice pack pressed to my cheek, Ray beside me with coffee. Corbin joined us, shoulders square again. "Mama," he said, voice raw. "I'll be better than last night." I smiled softly. "Be better than yesterday. That's enough." Ray read counsel's final note. "Protective order consult at 10, confirmation emails by noon." I nodded, content in the simple rhythm of procedure. The wind off the water felt like closure. My phone buzzed. A new email, State Consumer Affairs. A broader investigation had opened into Sloan events, multiple complainants listed. The first name wasn't mine. I stared at it, a slow understanding settling in. Sometimes truth doesn't end with one story, it starts another. The Charleston dawn looked calm, but my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. New messages, new names, new complaints against the Sloans. One of them claimed she knew what really happened before the cake. My heart slowed as I opened the file. The first photo wasn't of Varela, it was of me. End or beginning?